Howdy all, and welcome to Lex Lives. I think it's time we play a little... Oh, you know, I can tear that apart. A little 7 Days to Die. So, I guess it looks like it's gonna be a little while yet before we get to the next alpha. I was really hoping it was gonna be this weekend. It really looked to me like it might be this weekend, but I see they've got 3 new emojis, which everybody is currently assuming means bugs up on the forum. So people were posting that it was going to be another month yet. I couldn't find an actual announcement or anything about, hey, it's going to be another month yet, but that's what people were saying. So I guess that gives me time to finish my base, I suppose. Although today I'm out and about, just wandering around. I actually was worried that today was going to be login and have to build a new bike, because at the end of last episode I was looking for... man, you know, these are terrible, terrible wheels. I guess I could take those because I can use them to repair. But I had stopped to harvest some niter in the wasteland, and when I went to get back on my bike, I could see it, and I could dig the ground underneath of it, and it would fall, but I could not interact with it, which is never good. And so I thought it was just gone. In fact, I didn't even have the little bike icon on my screen anymore. But when I logged in today, it was fine. So, oof, that is a narrow little road right there. So I don't know what happened, but yep. And I was trying to think. On our server, I was riding along on my bike, and all of a sudden, or I stopped, and when I came back to get on my bike, uh-oh, I don't have any fuel. Shoot. Luckily, I made myself a wrench, but I don't see any cars either. Wasn't there a trail off the edge of the road back here? I mean, this seems like a horror movie. Oh, I ran out of gas. I'm going to have to run back to the gas station. I'm pretty sure I saw a trail. Oh, it's a long ways. It's probably... no, it's probably closer to go here. But it's more likely to have gas at the other place. Let's just go up the hill here. Ooh. Dude, I'm sorry, but I got no... Oh, you're not hungry, you're thirsty. I did have a little bit of water. This is me running with my broke leg. It's very slow. It's a zombie. Oh man, I am, I've been terrible this week at going to bed at a decent hour. I am kind of got a bit of a lack of sleep headache going today. Especially, ugh, I never sleep well when I set an alarm, and today we were supposed to have a meeting, and so I had to set an alarm and to make sure I don't sleep through the meeting. Oh man, that trail just ended in the water. That's not helpful. What kind of trail just ends in the water? Don't run too fast. You'll fall and break your leg. Oh. I kind of wanted to look to see if the trail continued on. It does. Goes right over to that place there. Hey dude, I tried to get to the surface, but you wouldn't go. So, yeah. So of course, knowing that I had to get up early, I did not go to bed early. And, I did beat my alarm, which I usually do. It's rare for me to sleep until my alarm goes off, which is good because I despise listening to that sound. And so, like I said, luckily for me, I did beat it. And so I got up and, you know, they went grocery shopping last night. And so if I start eating something for breakfast, I usually just eat the same thing for breakfast every day. It's rare for me to change what I eat for breakfast. I do, but it's rare. And so I've been eating Apple Jacks, and nobody else has been eating Apple Jacks until this week. And I was like, all right, so I've got enough Apple Jacks to last me until grocery shopping day, whenever that's going to be this week. And I'm like, so I'm good. And then Monday, I go to get my Apple Jacks for breakfast, and someone has eaten all the Apple Jacks, like almost a week's worth of Apple Jacks for me, and left one handful of Apple Jacks in the box, which is all I had for lunch, or for breakfast on Monday, was one handful of Apple Jacks. And then they went shopping last night, and so I'm like, all right, Apple Jacks. I put them on the list. I put them on the list last week, actually, because I didn't know when they were going to go shopping. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get some Apple Jacks for breakfast today. I get up, and I'm like, all right, so I put 2 things on the list, and one of the things was Mountain Dew, and they got Mountain Dew. And in the cupboard, I noticed they got like cookies and stuff like that, which wasn't on the list. I'm like, all right, so we're looking pretty good here. They've been all over the store, and I opened the cereal cupboard. There are no Apple Jacks at all. There isn't even any new cereal. They didn't get any cereal. Not pleased. I think we discussed the whole list thing a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, my brother-in-law, he reads over the list and then doesn't check the list while he's going through the store. So he often does not come home with everything that's on the list. They don't want me to go grocery shopping. I have offered many times, and every time they tell me no, because I only buy what's on the list. And so then they don't get all their 80 dozen snacks that they think they gotta have. And I do mean 80 dozen, because they come home with like, there's only 4 of them that eat chips. 4. And 2 of those are children. And so I really don't think that 4 people need 5 different bags of chips. I just don't think that. And so chips aren't usually on the list, and so I wouldn't buy chips. I also come home with way like 6 different kinds of pop, which I just find to be crazy. I don't know. And toaster pastries and just all sorts of weird stuff that was not on the list, but they just on a whim think they want. And then, you know, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to put one thing on the list. And then they get home and they didn't get my thing. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, so no Apple Jacks. And then today, no meeting. I don't appreciate that either. I probably was up for a couple hours before the meeting was supposed to. The meeting takes place about 30 minutes after I normally get up. And so I set the alarm for an hour ahead of the meeting to make sure I'm awake and give me time to get ready. And so I woke up like an hour and a half before that, and so I was working most of the morning, and then we get to the meeting. The meeting's online. It's not like I'm attending the meeting, so it wasn't that terrible. But I could have slept in. Oh yeah, this needs gas. I could have slept in. Well, not slept in, but I could have got my normal amount of sleepy times had I known the meeting was not going to take place. But of course, it was a technical glitch. We had a technical glitch today. It wasn't their fault. Well, it wasn't totally their fault. So, you know, I start up I forget what software we use, but start up the software and it's like, we'll connect you to the meeting when the presenter logs in. I'm like, alright, it's normal. And then I went to check it later and it's like, we were unable to connect you to the meeting. Would you like to try again? I'm like, oh, well, I've never had that happen before, but we've been having a lot of problems with our internet. And so I'm like, yep, reconnect me. And so it logs in, and the meeting's one of those share your computer screen kind of things, and so they just go over work stuff basically in a presentation. And ooh, I saw a couple of zombies get up. And so, oh, she's getting back up. Oh. Now you did. Now you redid. Don't be trying to hit me. So, whoops. So, I don't have any sound, and we've never had a meeting start late in the 2 years I've worked for this company. And so I'm like, okay, well, this is weird. But there is sometimes issues with people connecting sound. Ooh, nice. Sound-wise. And so I'm like, ooh, I mean, I've never had an issue before, but we've been having problems with the internet the last few weeks. And so I'm like, all right, I will, I guess, go ahead and make sure that I am connected. So I disconnected, I reconnected, and still no sound, still the primary screen of the meeting. And I'm like, okay, well, shoot. I hate when it does that. Like, well, I guess then I don't know what is going on. And so someone so then they posted in chat, hey, we're having audio issues, please stand by. I'm like, oh, okay, it's them, not me. And then a little while later, they're like, someone was like, hey, am I late? Are we, I mean, they were late. They were like 15 minutes late. And they're like, did I miss the meeting already? And they're like, no, we're gonna go ahead and cancel the meeting for today. And I'm like, oh. Man, I could have slept longer. What do you mean you're canceling the meeting? We'll just go ahead and make a video and send everybody a video link. It just won't have the chatty and questions and answers and that kind of stuff that takes place during this kind of meeting. It'll just be the information. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way I prefer it. So, I'm not a let's do the chatty kind of person. Not the program chatty, just, you know, chatting. I'm not chatty. I hate meetings because of the chat. It's not too bad now, but you know, I used to teach college classes, and I hate going to the meetings for those because they're all like, all right, everybody go around the room and introduce yourself, and we get back for the new semester after like summer. Black goth pants. Oh, you know what? I totally did not make myself a hunting knife. What are black goth pants? Oh, alright. Hazmat boots. Let's take those. I don't think I have a hazmat suit. And then, you know, then they're like, tell everybody something they don't know about you. No, if I didn't tell them, I don't want to know. What's one good thing that you learned last year from working with your students? Nothing. Nothing. I don't learn anything from working with my students. Already talking about. It's even worse as a teacher, though, because then the meeting itself usually winds up consisting of, all right, we're going to break down into small groups, and then we want everyone to go around, and you're gonna tell one effective teaching practice that you use, you know, and then that way you can learn from your peers. You put me at a table with philosophy and English and math, and me and math probably you know, have correlating ways of doing things, but me and philosophy ain't never gonna happen. Not the person. I've got no problem with the person, but you know, philosophy is always like, I like to break my students down into groups of 3, and then we write out a story of something that happened in our life, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, I teach IT. My students don't need to apply any kind of philosophy to their lives in IT. Our classes are already pretty full of IT stuff. I don't have time to break my students down into little groups to chit-chat about things. Most of them have never been in IT. That's why they're in a class. Heck, some of them never even owned a computer before. I don't know why they're in IT then. But, yeah. Or like English is like, after I have my students write out, you know, their 17-page papers, hey, bag off. You're not bagging off. I see you trying to make me bleed out again. I could use some food. Oh hey, there's a whole nother side here. Maybe we can find some food in here. But yeah, there was one time, and I've told this story before, but man, there was this one time where our college was switching to a single grading scale, which actually never occurred, but they claimed to be switching to a single grading scale because the way it was before was that every class, the instructor was expected to create their own syllabus from scratch. And so there were no guidelines on things like what constitutes an A or what constitutes a D percentage-wise, and so every instructor had something different, and so I guess what they wound up with was students dropping classes once they found out who the instructor was. So that they could get instructors who had an easier grading scale. And maybe that one's flat on the floor too. Pretty sure that one's flat on the floor too. And so they decided that they were just going to move everything to a single grading scale. And for the most part, everybody was already on the same grading scale, and it was only certain types of classes that had their own grading scale. And so after it was all over, those classes still had their own grading scale because they were like state mandatory grading scales, and apparently people in charge didn't pay any attention to that and thought everybody could move over to the same scale, but they didn't want people on the mandatory scale because the mandatory scale from the state was actually more difficult because it was for things like nursing programs. and you know what, the IT department just really doesn't need to be as careful as the nurses. So alright, where's my bike? I'm gonna go see if I can find some place with some food here. These little houses aren't doing it for me. And so they decided that we would break into groups and then now we're adults, right? I mean, this is the key to this story. We're adults. And so as an adult, you can just tell me something. You can just tell me something. Hey, we're all moving to the same grading scale across classes within a particular discipline because students are having issues with varied grading scales between instructors in the same fields. Sure, makes perfect sense to me. You give us the percents and the grade letters and I'll go with that. I have no problem with that. Let's be honest, my grading scale was the example given by the college, so my grading scale matched the new grading scale already. But no, couldn't just go with that. What we had to do was an example. And so our example was fun. It was fun, right? It was so much fun. This is a cute idea on how to get the instructors to understand what happens when there's different grading scales between instructors teaching the same class. And so we had a little test to perform. Everyone was given a piece of paper with their grading scale, And then everyone was given a balloon. And then we had to bounce the balloon while sitting at the table. And we basically had to play Don't Touch the Ground. And so you can only hit the balloon once. And once per person without someone touching it in between. So you couldn't touch it twice in a row. And so your group everybody had to bounce the balloon without it touching the table or the floor. And you had to count up how many times you hit the balloon before it hit the ground. Now you could go as many times as you wanted, and so the goal was to get the highest number you possibly could without letting it touch the table. And for I don't remember how many minutes it was, but it was minutes. It wasn't like we're gonna do this for 15 seconds. This was like you got 6 minutes to bounce this balloon kind of thing. And I'm just like, we're adults. Why do we have to do this? I'm like the youngest person in the room, but I'm still an adult. Why do we have to do this? And and then once we were done bouncing the balloons and counting up what was the maximum that you managed to bounce it, then we graded it on the scale we were given. And so then the instructor or the person leading the meeting had us bring the scale and our number up to the front, and then they wrote on the board the number that we managed to do, and then displayed each person's scale. And so of course some of them were like, you bounce the balloon 100 times, that's a B. And other people was like, you bounce the balloon 15 times, that's a B. And so it's like, yeah, I get it. I got it when you said before, we want to change so that everybody's on the same grading scale, because students don't like it when the grading scale varies between the exact same class. I got it. I got it when you told me in the first place. I didn't need to spend 15 minutes with a balloon to understand that we're switching to a single grading scale because of this. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, at least I wasn't having to introduce myself and tell what I did over summer, because that's worse. Name one thing that nobody here knows about you. I don't know what people know or don't know about me. And then there's like 40 people in the room, and they're going around the room and they're like, I have 2 dogs. One's named Puddles, and the other one is named Sleepy. And they are both... Shut up. I don't care about your dogs. I don't care. This is a meeting for professionals. Why are we talking about dogs? I got... I don't need those coffee beans. I got a cabin, and we go to the cabin, and we stay at the cabin, and then we come home from the cabin, and sometimes we go back to the cabin again. I don't care. Not something I ever needed to know about you. Ever needed to... I don't even know what your name is. I don't need to know it. We're not in the same field. I don't hang out in the teacher's lounge. I come in, I do my class, I go home. We're not going to be friends. Yeah, we don't even live in the same area. We will never bump into each other. Yeah. I don't know what the point of this is. I never understand the point of this. Anyways. Wow, I got off on a weird tangent. So, internet. Yeah, my internet is horribly wonky at the moment, and we have DSL, so terrible, better than dial-up, but terrible DSL. And so, ooh, what was I crafting? I felt like I was gonna be home. Why am I not home? And so it just cuts out for a minute at a time. 17 minutes. I had a 17-minute gap yesterday where there was no internet. Last night while we were trying to play D&D online, it cut out like 4 times in the space of 20 minutes. So, oh, that's my home right there. This is my home. On the other side of these trees is my home. There you are. Let's see, is there anything in here I can carry with me that I picked up more of? And, so yeah, we wound up calling the, well, we didn't call, we went through the app and set up a technician to come out and look at it because he had me remove the filters and just plug the main phone directly in. So it did that. And then he said if that didn't fix it, order a new modem. So I couldn't tell if it fixed it or not, but I ordered a new modem. And new modem came, and I installed the new modem. And then that didn't fix it. Like everything has made it a little bit less of a problem, it seems, but nothing has fixed it. And so, yeah, so we had to tell a technician, or had to request a technician. But then you got to answer like 20 questions before they'll send a technician out. You know, like, where does this problem take place, and how often does this problem happen, and does it affect every spot you can think of, and you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, look, I get it. We already did the 2 things you told us to do, and you said this problem was still going to bring out a technician. Well, the problem's still going. Send me a technician. Just do it. Ooh, look, I'm getting pretty close to a hazmat suit. I think I'm just missing the chest now. And, so, yeah, I'm hoping they'll get out here and fix it. It's a lot like a problem we had once before. And the last time we had a problem that was like this, they had to replace the, stuff outside where the phone line comes in, and like wire came loose or something, but they wound up replacing the whole box, they said. So hopefully it's that again, and they can just get it fixed and things will go back to normal. But alright, well, with that, I'm going to call it a day. So click like, subscribe, and catch the next one. I will talk to you later.